MouseandJoypad.com bring you another original. It's fucking great.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Mouse and Joycast, Mouse and Joypad's weekly podcast, where we talk about video games and the business that runs them. I'm your host, Jordan Lopez. With me this week, we have the wonderful, I'm trying to come up with a good
I mean, don't lie. Don't lie. You know, you can loudmouthed.
The bug-eyed in terms of his picture, Trevor Anderson.
Hello, everyone.
And joining us for the first time is from Ohio, actually. Oh, congratulations on the big win on Sunday night.
Yeah,
too.
I don't really support Cleveland. So.
Well, we have with us Jared Marrero.
Yep. Kind of messed that up, but
it's
cool.
Is it
most people do.
Is it maybe Marrero? Is that better?
Yeah, exactly. That's
okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. Hey man, how you doing?
Good. Great.
Glad to have you with us for the first time. Hopefully not for the
last.
last.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. Well, first things first, fellas. We're a week after. Well, it's almost been exactly a week after E3's been let go. Definitely, it's been a week since the press conferences have stopped, but yeah, so much to talk about. So let's just get started. Jared, it's your first time with us, so you could start us off. Things, I guess. What are some of the things you saw come out of E3 that got you really, got your blood boil, pumping?
Yeah, definitely, probably the way Sony's conference went. Just bang, 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 a bunch of exclusives right away. God of War looks amazing. I've always been sort of an Xbox guy, so not seeing Sony come out and fire away with exclusives right in a row right at the beginning of the show was quite exciting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think Sony really brought their A game, and they really showed what they offer in terms of like a game catalog. And I think every generation has like a clear console winner. I thoroughly believe that last year 360 definitely was the better console with the better selection, but I think it's going to be hard for Microsoft to catch up this year. Sony's just knocking it out of the park every year.
Yeah, in their conference this year reminded me of their conference from 2009, I believe, when like God of War 3 was actually announced and Last Guardian, and not everything kind of came into fruition with that. Actually, one of those games is still being shown at their press conference, which is, if you think about it, the last God of War was first shown with Last Guardian, and then this new God of War is being, was shown with Last Guardian. It's just
crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's funny. Like every time people asked about that, like, "Hey, is Last Guardian actually going to come out?" They just kept saying the same thing. Like, "Yep, it's still getting made." So it hasn't been canceled? Nope. And they're like just very confident about it. And it seems to me like they probably just kept, finding problems, and then either had to wait until like the PlayStation 4 would come out to allow for a solution, but I'll be honest, I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be a fantastic game when it actually does hit.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably in like another 15, 20 years.
When the new God of War 3 comes out.
Yeah.
So,
Dad of War, as I've heard some people referring to it now.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
That aspect is really cool. It kind of sort of reminds me of The Last of Us in the way that it's like two people really getting a connection and probably going through a story with how their relationship ends up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be definitely a little bit more of an emotional kind of story. I think that like the game industry is starting to move a little bit more towards that, like introducing some real character dynamics and really getting you invested into the game, because how can you watch The Last of Us and not see that, like, that makes a game so much better?
Yeah.
Yeah, and crazily enough, I actually heard from it's Corey Barlog's kind of directing the whole thing, and he did the first two games and some of the third one. I guess it's actually the same Kratos from those God of Wars, which is funny to think. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so weird that he was like this one-dimensional character, and now they're taking him and doing like a really different aspect of him. Like you would never think it would show him having a son and how he's gonna deal with that. It's really different.
I couldn't like if you would have told me that a week before E3, I would have never believed you. And I mean, it's so believable, and I don't even know how the story will get there. You know? Like,
it's really weird.
Yeah, I think Sony knocked it out of the park, but I was kind of surprised by Microsoft throwing down two consoles.
Yeah.
Throwing two consoles. I guess they knew that like Sony was going to like talk about Neo, which they didn't, which is something I'm going to be evaluating later. But I kind of find it funny that they were like, "Oh, you're gonna put out a new console? We're putting out two." So
and one that's way higher specs, hopefully, than yours.
Yeah.
With so many teraflops.
They said teraflops at least 10 times in that freaking showcase. It was crazy. Oh, I'm laughing the whole time.
I know that it's definitely a real like thing, you know, like it you know, when it comes to processors, but I can't tell you what that thing is. And to be honest, it just kind of ringed in my ear as if they were like going 64-bit system. You know, like they're selling us something just on a name, you know, that we're not really going to get. It has like 28 teraflops, guys.
No, I think that's exactly what it's the same kind of methodology. I feel like, you know, putting that kind of label on that without going into too much big description, kind of, you know, something you could kind of market rather than.
Yeah, like I'm sure if like there's people out there who probably know about processors and they're just like sitting there like rolling their eyes, like going, "Oh yeah, just throw a couple more teraflops on there. Why not?"
Yeah, I was really surprised that they came out with the S first?
Yeah.
What are they calling it? Yeah.
Yeah, the S, and then like I thought it was the same system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I thought that we were talking about the same system, and so like I was live tweeting the event for Mouse and Joypad, and like I got to the point where like then right at the end they said something that made it seem like, oh, they're two completely different consoles. Like I was completely confused.
So yeah, it was so weird.
Microsoft just did not have a good press conference. It, you know, in my opinion, they didn't show any games that were really, you know, awe-inspiring. You know, Gears of War. Like I've seen Gears of War. You know, it doesn't seem like there's much being done with it. I could care less about Halo Wars. You know.
Yeah. They didn't really have a strong games lineup.
No, and I actually would have liked to have heard them talk about VR a little bit more, but
yeah, they didn't. Surprisingly, they didn't have VR at all.
No. And why do they keep bringing out Minecraft every year?
Every year. Well, they figure you buy it for so much money, you got to do something with it every E3, right?
Yeah, I guess so, man. But like every year they show like, look, you could wear the HoloLens glasses and play Minecraft from. Yeah, that's all right. You keep it.
Half of the stuff that they were talking about, I didn't even know. I didn't know anything about, and I played Minecraft for a little bit at least. And they're like talking about the friendly update, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this is.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Microsoft didn't bring their A game, and Ubisoft, I think they probably took some drugs or something before.
Oh my gosh, I was sleeping through that press conference. That press conference was terrible.
Oh my god, it started out so weird. Aisa Taylor doesn't know what she's talking about. Like,
just throw it.
She's up there like they're showing like not pixelated graphics. They were like how would I describe them? Just like polygon type graphics, you know, just very simple design. And she's like, "Oh, you gotta love those 8-bit graphics." And I'm just like, oh, God, what are you talking about?
Yeah, she's all. Then the Just Dance thing, it was weird. They had a giraffe on stage. Like I don't know what was happening with that press. That press conference was so bad. And the game they showed at the end, Jeez, oh my gosh, it looks terrible. Like all you're doing is basically running around mountains. Like they didn't show any.
I kind of like that game. I kind of
I,
thought that was kind of cool.
The
I
weird
thought the
thing,
graphic.
the weird thing
Go
about
ahead.
that was like people were, they'd do skydiving, but then like you would see someone like severely wipe out and just like was dead, but like
That
in
was funny.
Ubisoft fashion, it just like, oh no, never mind that, it's
Yeah.
okay, it's kind of that's the thing with Ubisoft that I'm kind of resident, like kind of, I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way is their treat, like they'll depict real life, real consequences of actions, but then they won't really delve into it. Like I want to see that, injury. I want to see, you know, the
Yeah.
repercussions of that kind of stuff, or at least something. It just, yeah, I don't know. It just feels like there's something there that they're missing, but that,
I don't know. Personally, I like Steep. It's kind of reminding me of, I don't know if you guys ever did this, but did you ever hop on Grand Theft Auto 5 and then like you and your friends were like, let's just go up to the top of that mountain and like
Yeah.
race mountain bikes down,
Yeah.
or let's go like, skydiving, and try to land perfectly in this area.
yeah,
So I don't know. I kind of got a kick out of it. It kind of reminded me of like SSX Tricky.
absolutely, yeah, for sure.
So I was kind of digging it. Like I was actually kind of impressed. That was the one game that I was really impressed with, and yeah, I was really happy that like if I don't think anyone would deny that when it comes to the Ubisoft show, that was probably the most interesting aspect.
Yeah, that was definitely the high point of the conference.
Yeah, I mean, like you might not fully be in love with it, but at least it was an interesting topic. And then, like it didn't have any kind of violence or anything like that. It doesn't seem like it's highly competitive. It just seems almost like, hey, you ever wanted to, snowboard down,
Mm-hmm.
the side of Mount Everest? Well, here you go.
Well, the
So
thing is, I just
I think
don't
it's
know how long you could go go in a game and just like all you're doing is snowboarding down a mountain, or
yeah,
like I know there's snowboarding games, but it's so weird to just say,
yeah.
let's go snowboarding skydive for the
Well, they're
for
talking
4 or
about
5
those
hours.
lines. They're like, well, you could analyze your lines. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, like
No one's playing that game to analyze a line.
yeah, oh, I really like this, but I didn't hit this, this cliff as steep as I should have or whatever. Like, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I know there's definitely Forza Motorsports fans out there like that, where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I took turn 8 on lap 13 so wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I don't know how you remembered that, but okay.
I liked how you could switch on the fly too. Like, say you're at the top of the mountain, maybe you don't want to snowboard. You could just glide down.
Yeah.
And you could.
That was interesting.
And
And I think
first person
Oh,
mode
sorry.
is no, just like skiing in first person. Like, sounds kind of like a funny thing, but then it looked actually really. In fact, the skiing
yeah.
actually looked like the most fun in the game to me, though. But no, yeah, I agree. It did look. I thought it was probably the game out of that whole conference, which kind of had me interested to a point where it's like I'd actually want to try that out.
Yeah, I would love to do it on VR.
Oh yeah, that'd be that for sure.
Now, I will say when it comes to Ubisoft, they didn't wow me a lot with their products, but it was better than Bethesda's.
See, I liked Bethesda has a formula where they just focus on like one game for most of the conference.
Yeah.
Dishonored 2 was that, and I think Dishonored 2 looks pretty good.
It looks great.
But yeah, there's not much there. Of course, yeah, there wasn't much like fat around the meat.
No,
That's kind of how their conference seemed like they're going so far, and yeah,
I think that last year they definitely had a reason to have an hour-long conference. This year I don't think so much. Like for me,
they originally weren't going to do this year, right? And then they were like, yeah, we'll go anyway. And
yeah, we'll do it. Why not?
why not? Chance to market our games, but yeah, the fact that they were going to cancel it kind of shows that they're not really dedicated. I mean, they're dedicated obviously, but they're not really into E3. And
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a dying platform anyway. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it was a good idea for them to go, but maybe just I don't know, the conference itself. I mean, they talked about Fallout 4, and the stuff they talked about was very light, and then they talked about like Elder Scrolls Online, and like I can only listen about Elder Scrolls Online for so long before my eyes start drifting out of my skull.
Trading card game.
Yeah, the trading card game. And
it seems like everyone is releasing a trading card game.
I can just imagine they're like super easy to develop. You have an I don't want to use the word exploitable, but I can't think of another word that
that's it.
Yeah, and so it just seems like it's easy pickings.
Yeah, the only one I'm really interested in is Gwent, because I spent so much time in The Witcher 3 playing Gwent.
Yeah,
but that's just because of my experiences in Witcher 3. If Witcher 3 wasn't there, I'd never play a trading card game, really.
Yeah, I feel like Bethesda might have a good one next year, because a lot of the stuff was early, like Prey, Quake. You got to know there's got to be an Elder Scrolls cooking up soon, but I think it would have been a better conference if some of that stuff was more long, down the pipeline, like Prey, and I wish they would have at least said more about Quake or shown more Quake, because that was kind of an exciting announcement, but then they kind of said, well, you got to wait till QuakeCon in about a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, that almost seemed like that was like thrown in. Like we got to lead with something cool.
I think it should have been a bigger deal than it was, for sure.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, a name can only get you so far. Like
exactly.
at the end, yeah. I mean, like you could make a really good Quake successor and it not be Quake. You know, or same thing with Unreal or Doom or any of those other games.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're just taking the name and using it, but I think Bethesda will, at least do it, decent enough. I mean, Doom wasn't exactly what I would have loved when it comes to a game, but especially when it came to the multiplayer. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a bad game, and I don't think Bethesda has made a bad game that I can say is like, fundamentally bad. They usually make solid 7, 8, 9 out of 10 games. Yeah. So yeah, I'm interested to see if they can bring the game series back.
Yeah. Well, at least they're. Oh no, sorry, Jared.
You're fine. The weird thing was it was Quake Champions, which was like kind of weird to me. Like, if you're gonna reboot it, wouldn't you reboot it just Quake?
Yeah.
It's kind of point to like, I'm scared they're gonna come out at QuakeCon and be like, well, it has MOBA tendencies, and it's like, I don't want that. Please do not do that. I really hope they take care of this. I hope it's a bigger deal than they're really making out to be.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do it right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Bethesda's was okay when you compare it to what EA's conference was. I actually had to cover EA's conference.
Oof.
If you even want to call it a conference, it was more like a succession of teasers and.
Yeah.
I mean, for starters, you have Mass Effect coming out in less than a year, and they didn't even show anything beyond.
I don't know why. That was their biggest mistake, is not showing Mass Effect.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not? You've done it for like the past 2 years. You've teased for 2 years. How are you not showing footage at this point?
I don't understand. And the time's coming around. It's time goes by fast. It's coming up, and yeah, that was kind of that kind of. After that, I was like, I don't know where this is going. I mean, the Titanfall 2 stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
In fact, probably the only really cool stuff to come out of that. Yeah, it was weird, and I don't like how they format it when they tell you, like, oh, wait, 5 minutes, this is coming up, we're going to talk about this game. Yeah. It's like...
That's
it's kind of like...
I like it to be a surprise. Like, can you just surprise me?
Yeah, no, or it's kind of more like, oh, bear with us, I know this is pretty, hard to sit through, but... just 5 minutes from now.
Could you imagine if Sony was having their press conference and like a little balloon box came up and like while they were playing that music and going, in 2 minutes, see what happened to Kratos?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for ruining the surprise.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
I was hoping that whole time that they would just be like, here's to this and 5 minutes to this, and then out of nowhere would just be Mass Effect. But nope, never came.
No, it was.
That would have been.
Yeah. No, it was just. I think even at one point they showed a teaser of Battlefield 1. Like they showed us the first like 7 seconds of like the trailer. Yeah, that was probably, and that was like towards the end too, so that's kind of how they capped it off, and it was like, what the hell is, and then they brought out, Zac Efron and.
Oh my gosh, that was so terrible. That was really, 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 really bad. They were like, they didn't even care that they were there. They're like, "You ready to play Battlefield?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm here." Why
like,
not?
Sure, where's my check?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't. I don't know why they do that. Like, why? Like, look, here's a celebrity. It's like I don't care like at all.
The gaming community is just like, okay,
All right,
give us some games.
Yeah.
Guess we're hanging out with Zac Efron for another couple minutes, and then maybe we'll actually see something we care about.
That was cool to see, like Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was.
They tend to just pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
but just time to time, just talking about random games.
They never get announced. It's just like all of a sudden, like you're watching like a conference or something, and they're like, "And we're gonna go over to Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb," and you're like, "Where the fuck did they come from?" I mean, I'm glad to see you, but you're kind of coming out of nowhere like Batman. You know?
Adam Sessler was marketing that Friday the 13th game for a while there.
Yeah,
that's right,
He was everywhere marketing that.
So who do you think won the out of the conferences?
Oh, Sony for sure, all the way.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, if you want to choose like one that sticks out the most, it was, I think, Sony. Xbox was decent. It was badly directed, but it was public TV, so they always had to cut away from like the game itself and show the audience. I
think as a conference, Xbox was okay, and as a conference, Sony wasn't that much better, but they made it so much more of an event. Like you wanted to see what was next, and it was like this orchestra there, and it was like a movie rather than watching a conference. It was really cool. I like seeing it.
I would say Sony just because all the other conferences seem like they didn't bring their A game. Like their legs were broken or something. Like they didn't get out the gate running, and Sony just nailed it. Knew exactly what trailers to play after the other. Knew how to market the VR real quick and to get people engaged with it. It seemed like they were standing behind their technology and their games, and they seemed resolved. And so like Sony had the most confidence, the best lineup, everything. So I mean, even if all the other conferences did better, Sony still was an A presentation.
Yeah
for sure. And they had Kojima, so that kind of
oh yeah,
when they announced Kojima and he came out like a freaking king, that was awesome.
Yeah, and they had a whole trailer done.
That trailer was it was cool, but it was so weird.
Yeah
and that's what you would expect from Kojima anyway, but it was really it was really weird to see. It was like holding up a baby and it's like the umbilical cord's cut off. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I did a video. I don't know if you both saw it on the Mouse and Joypad page where I broke the video down, and I think that the video has nothing to do with the game. And I stated in my video that I felt like it was more of a personal project, like a personal statement against Konami, and probably what he was going through over the past like year and a half, 2 years. And I actually had some people go like, "Oh man, you're looking too much into it." And after it posted, like 3 or 4 hours later, Polygon posted an exclusive interview with Kojima where he said that the trailer was kind of a reflection. And I was like, haha, yeah, justified.
Those people were like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too, because a couple weeks ago, I saw this PT video that talks about this. There's so many PT theories out there, but some of them are good and some of them are bad. But there's like a new recent one. I'm like, they're still doing PT theories, but it's actually a pretty well put together one that kind of actually pretty much, I want to say, it's closes the door on the theory that PT is steeped in a bunch of symbolism that has to do with Kojima's relationship with Konami, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't, kind of put that together. But yeah, it's kind of like he's kind of still doing that thing, and I feel like even the new game probably is going to talk about that kind of stuff. And
I hope it doesn't. I hope for the new game he just leaves all that behind him and focuses on making something new.
Yeah, I agree.
It would be bad to have this game come out of the ashes of his disruptions with Kojima. Well, not Kojima, but Konami.
Yeah.
I actually had someone told me something about PT once that kind of blew my mind. They said it seems like you're going like through a Morbius strip, right, where you're constantly going through the same hallway and everything.
Yeah.
But they said, but if you really break it down and you were to lay it out, it could exist realistically. And the reason why is because even though it's L-shaped, the last part of that hallway is stairway down a couple steps.
Yeah.
So if you really think about it, it's 4 hallways until you go back around, and when you go back around, you're actually lower than you were before. So as you progress and you keep going through the hallway, you're technically descending.
Yeah.
Almost up into hell, which is
Mind-blowing.
pretty freaking cool. So it's the little things, man. And Kojima is freaking awesome. I love his work.
He definitely deserved the amount of praise they gave him. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I know we could go on about E3 because E3 is everything to us, but we do have to move on to the news.
The news!
What little there is, but there is always something. Let's start us off with I think it was today Mighty Number 9 was released. It was actually, for the most part it was. That actually is a good segue because this topic or this story is that supposedly the game is getting off to a bad start.
Bad start.
Yeah, so it looks like some backers are having not even getting the game codes correct game codes. They're getting DLC codes. The 360 version's been delayed until not really sure, but it says at the moment. What else? That's just on top of people actually being able to play the game, saying it's just kind of broken or it's just not what it was promised. I just watched a video on Digital Foundry. There's even some I believe on the PlayStation like frame rate issues, which some people don't care too much about frame rate drops, but it kind of, I guess on a 2D game they do good. They explain pretty well in that it just kind of really can actually.
I think with 2D, like you almost like you can't help but notice frame rate drops. With 3D you can kind of forgive it, especially if it gets into hectic environments. But with 2D, it's almost like, I mean, we had this crap right when it was Super NES.
Why can't you get it right now? It's really weird for Mighty Number 9 to have troubles when they've delayed it. I don't know how many times. It's really, really frustrating to see a game come out of Kickstarter and promise so much and then deliver so little.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I actually played at E3 last year, and it played well then. It could have been released then. I got to play like 2 out of the 4 stages they had available, and I had fun with it, and I can't understand why this game is coming out so broken. It also seems like people are saying that like most of the game's content that was promised is gone. Like, what they were supposed to get isn't there. And I don't know if it's just sour grapes and a bunch of people kicking dirt on the same target, but from what I've seen, it's like I saw an update where someone was updating the game, and it was like saying, "Oh, this game folder already exists. Do you want to install here?" And it's like, yeah. Like that's where the game's installed. Where else would I install these files?
Yeah.
And it just seems like it's like very poor coding, very poor development. Just it doesn't seem like. And I get why people are upset. You put millions of dollars into a project, you'd expect that million is going is going to go a while, and it definitely should. And I know game developers out there that if they were given $1 million, they could run for years developing their game. I think this might be a case of sometimes these developers, they get a Kickstarter going and they get a ton of money, so they bring on like a big force, like a Capcom style, development office, and you're not going to be able to support your game with that.
Yeah.
You have to think realistically. You have to, do it on the smallest budget you possibly can. So I don't know. Maybe they spent all the money in the wrong spots or whatever. But man, yeah, it does not seem like that year's worth of polish was thrown on since I last saw it.
Yeah. I think I wonder how much of the problem too is just how many platforms it's coming out on at the same time. I mean, it's like PS3, 360, Xbox One, PS4, PC, Mac, Linux.
I mean, it can definitely be a problem.
Wii U,
I mean,
3DS. That's like a bunch. I mean, I know like back in the day they had problems, just porting a game, working on a game from like a 360 version, and the PS3 version, would always be kind of harder to develop.
yeah.
I wonder how hard it is to like manage like all these platforms at once, and promising like it's all going to come out at the same time, which
Yeah.
obviously now we know it's not, or it isn't, because it hasn't.
Yeah. Interesting and weird thing is that Keiji Inafune is behind this game. He's the project lead and the project lead on another game that's about to come out, an important one in Recore for Xbox, and I really want to pay attention to Recore and see how that does, because you got to wonder at some point, like the legendary developers or the really good developers who are on each project. You want to see how they do, and if Recore comes out and has some problems, then you can kind of point a finger somewhere at least, because the two games that come out near each other and are both, if they both are messed up, then it's a bad sign.
Yeah, and I think that I think they had a good foundation here. I mean, obviously it's just a Mega Man clone. Recoil is something new. So Recoil, it kind of hides those rough edges, I think, when it's like a new IP. Like I remember a lot of people really liked Watch Dogs, at least in the beginning week of playing it, but then the rough edges started to really show themselves afterwards. But with a game like Mighty Number 9, where what you're getting into Mega Man. You're playing Mega Man. It's just not called Mega Man. It's called Mega, or Mighty Number 9, and Mighty Mega, same thing. And so people had a higher expectation of this.
Definitely.
They thought they were going to get a game that was the best possible Mega Man variation that they could possibly get. So I don't know. Maybe this might be just a problem where the expectations were too high, and these problems aren't as bad as what people are making them out to be. But I don't know. I tend to agree. Like, they've had a ton of time to get this game done. They did have one of the largest Kickstarters for a game ever. It seems to me like all the pieces, were in the right places. But so why is this puzzle so broken?
Cool. All right, guys. I think that's as much we can talk about that game for now. We'll definitely talk about it more if there's any developing stories with that. But let's see. The second story I have pertains to, there's this game on Steam called Hadean Lands. It's kind of a interactive fiction game. That's 100% text based.
Text-based adventures.
Yeah.
Old
Nothing,
school.
nothing like them. And usually they're pretty good priced games. They're like $1. But this game has a 27 pounds, which is about $30 DLC. It's literally a PDF certificate. Um, it's a PDF certificate that states you won't you won't look up any information on the game to help you if you're stuck. So it's
Yeah, you're gonna beat it without help.
yeah, and
Yeah.
supposedly there's also so it's like a PDF. I'm looking at it. It's like a little like a I want to say it looks kind of like a not a placard, but what would you say?
I'd say like a certificate with like a fake
Yeah,
seal on it.
yeah,
And yeah, it says, "I blank hereby pledge that I will complete the game Hadean Lands entirely on my own natural wit and skill without remorse or recourse to any hint, guide, walkthrough, or other source of information beyond those provided in the game itself. And yes, I will solve this flippin' thing. I'm up to the challenge. This I swear is whatever instrument this I swear by whatever instrumentality I revere, by every test tube in someone's name, Hermes Trigetmesis' laboratory, and by the cold hard cash I paid for this certificate. Duly signed and then witnessed by. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the funniest things ever because he's essentially selling nothing. He's essentially selling nothing, and people are getting mad about it. But I think it's funny because I'm a little bit of a troll. I'll lull at things like that. And to be honest, if he's making money by selling a piece of paper, more power to him.
yeah.
Go for it, man. Like, you ain't hurting anyone. If someone walks
The
into the
seal.
deal, how can you get mad about it?
Yeah.
Like who's buying it and then having buyer's remorse going, I really shouldn't have spent $35 on a piece of paper.
And he, just to note, he has come out saying that it's kind of like a joke, but actually, in his words, let me read it right here. He posted like a comment, or in the discussion boards of Steam. It says someone was congratulating him. Well, someone said making people pay for promise certificates, genius, just in a very devilish way. And he responded saying, "Thanks. I was hoping people would be amused. And I hope some people will put down money for it, of course, but that's not a requirement." So, I mean, obviously he knows what he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and he knows that he might get something out of it, and which he probably has, because if he didn't, this probably wouldn't be a news story.
Oh man, there's people with disposable income who will, spend their money on
Yeah.
it easily, especially if they like the game. They'll just do it to show off the fact that they're fans of the entry. And I'm a huge fan of text-based adventures. I still have my old Infocom collections, so I occasionally still play Zork. And I was playing Bureaucracy the other day, which is a game that's written by Terry Gilliam, and it's absolutely hysterical. So I love these games, and I think it's a little, if it is worth it, but just the fact that like he's selling a piece of paper for $35, that says I'm not going to cheat, when like you easily could, like you could just print it out and then cheat. But I guess that defeats the purpose. I mean, if you're buying something, it's kind of like getting on a weight loss program where you have to pay like $50 a month or $100 a month, and it's like,
Yeah,
if I'm gonna get on this plan and or going to the gym and then paying monthly fees, like if you're incentivized to go just because of the fact that you've already started to pay that fee every month, then maybe this certificate is a good idea, just in the sense of, no, I paid $35, I made a commitment, I'm not going to cheat in this game. I mean, he might have a little bit of genius here in that, and who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, if he's making money on it, hey, I would shake this guy's hand. It's genius. It is absolute genius.
yeah. I mean, I think he knows his audience too. These are people playing a text-based adventure game, and why not
Yeah.
release a text-based DLC?
A text-based reward system that
Yeah,
I no, I mean, It's definitely hitting, right where, you should be hitting, and I think it's a little stroke of genius, and I love stories like this. It's good social experiments, you know.
Yeah, it harkens back to the Watch Paint Dry a few months back.
Oh,
Something.
Yeah,
yeah.
I totally like when we were talking about this. I had that flashback on that.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Steam, though. There's definitely the good and the bad with it, but because it's such a wild west of game selling, it's just
Hmm.
yeah, it's chock full of stories. Um, but yeah, so it's a nice little one. I'm glad I found that. And actually, I found that thanks to Eurogamer.net, just to give them cred. I don't think anywhere else on the online I haven't found it, but other than that, guys, it's pretty slow in terms of news this week. So that's all the news we have for you this week. So let's move on to our last segment, which is what we're looking forward to for the rest of the week. What we got planned for the near future. Um, let's go backwards now from where we started. So let's start with you, Trev. What you got looking? What are you looking forward to for this week, or what do you got? On your
Well, let's
agenda.
see. I should just mention it because we do every episode. Rocket League's got their new map, which was fun. I played it a little bit.
Oh yeah,
I also have
that's
a
right.
new game. Yeah, we got Neo Tokyo.
I forgot about that. I gotta,
Yeah,
I gotta try that out.
that and Pillars, and that one's crazy just because the ball bounces all around that center area like no one's business.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a very interesting map. Then I've got a point and click adventure game. I had a developer who watched my review of Deponia Doomsday
mm-hmm.
and really liked it, and he was like, "Hey, I've got a point and click adventure game. If you want, I would like it if you could review it." So I had Scott reach out, and yeah, so it seems like I'm gonna be reviewing that. It's called Demetrios: The Big Cynical Adventure,
Huh.
and it's kind of like a dumb, goofy kind of point and click adventure game.
Uh huh.
So it does seem right up my alley. That's my kind of forte. I loved like the late '90s LucasArts games. So
Mm.
and yeah, I think other than that, I think I'm gonna be maybe catching up on some of my other games I haven't had a chance to play through all the way. I still finished Undertale, and I've got this one other game called Detective Grimmore that I haven't had a chance to play, and I'll be picking that one up too, just on my off time, of course.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. How about you, Jared?
Not much in the works for me this week. Don't know if did my I was previewing this game, Galaxy Combat War Games, on Steam, and I don't know. It's a bit of a bad game. I don't want to stay on it too long because I jacked it up real bad in the preview. But other than
And
that,
it's a
playing.
good read too. So
Thank you, thank you. Um, Other than that, playing Dying Light. Didn't play it last year or the year before that when it came out. It's really fun so far. Really like the parkour elements. Zombies have been done 100 times, but not with parkour in it. And the
Mm-hmm.
night stuff really makes it like how the zombies get more powerful at night. It gives it another dimension to the gameplay where the whole map sort of just changes from what you know and what you can see. You can jump, get away from the zombies to like this thing where you're crawling everywhere and you're really scared and it's quite thrilling to go outside at night.
Are you playing the enhanced edition or is it the original?
Uh, no, just the original. I have GameFly, so I can try
Oh,
to play
okay.
as many games as possible.
Yeah. No, yeah, I
So
remember.
yeah.
I remember playing the demo for that and actually being really impressed. I remember there was a part where I was running away because I was about to die, and just like hearing the noises of the zombies that were keeping up with me and chasing me right behind was really. That was kind of the moment where it clicked. That game clicked with me, like knowing that
Yeah.
there's that factor of parkour and you can maneuver and just running
Yeah, exactly.
around. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cool.
What about you?
So yeah, actually, with you mentioning Rocket League, I'm gonna have to check that out. But um, I'm working on a review of a game that I should have done by tomorrow. It's called Mushroom Wars. I believe it was a mobile game that just got recently ported to the PC. It's a real time strategy, point and click.
That's
Um,
cool.
it's really based on building up fort, moving out your troops to take over like your enemy's forts. So it has to do really with like it's like a fast pace, I think, because yeah, you have to like take into account how long it takes the little mushroom guys who are like your troops to actually go from where they're at to the wherever you send them to. So you have to take into account, how long the waves take to get there, and just like managing also like each um, fort kind of like builds up, like your troops build up just like every second you get an extra guy in there, and there's like an icon that shows how many people there is in each location. So you have to take into account how many people are in there. And you also have to take into account what percentage of how many troops are in there you want to send out, because you have that option as well. Um, you also have to take into account sometimes there's these larger forts that kind of send out like they kind of not like they look like cannonballs, yeah. So like they actually kill some of your guys on their route to that location. So you also have to take into account like, well, if I send 20, probably only 7 or 10 will get there. Um, so yeah, there's a few like factors like that come into play and that actually make it pretty fun, but also make it really difficult.
The funny thing is that like RTSs, it seems like that genre has kind of died out, and like they're waiting for that one game to kind of rejuvenate the whole franchise or the
uh,
whole genre rather.
no, yeah, and this is a pretty. I could see why they ported this over. I think it did pretty well on mobile. It is. I think what it does well is it has a nice, cute aesthetic, and then, but then underneath it all is just this demanding, this demanding game. Yeah.
Very cool.
And then trying to think if there's so many games I want to finish playing. I actually started. I think I made it a point to finish the Phantom Pain because it's like it's been sitting there. I got it on the day it came out, but I've never finished it.
Yeah, I've been talking about picking it up and playing it. I didn't fully want to at first, and now I'm at this point. I'm okay now since I know Kojima's landed somewhere that I want to see what's going on with it.
Yeah, no, it definitely, it took me some time to actually. I guess I was a little disheartened when I kind of was like the first couple weeks, and like the opening is. I remember the opening kind of really was exhilarating, and it kind of felt like all right, and then it's like no, now you got to kind of go out, and this is kind of. I guess it was the rhythm of the game definitely took me
Yeah,
back. It's like, man, this is a different, you know, Metal Gear has always been like, you know, this kind of playthrough once, and that's all I kind of needed out of it. But it was a great playthrough kind of experience.
yeah,
Just kind of, it led you in a certain direction, and I was perfectly fine with that because that's what I loved. So I think it's more the open world aspect is more just kind of a part of the whole game, um, which because there's like so many. It feels like 4 games in one because you got like base management, open world, stealth, um, like R&D things. Like what weapons do you want to have developed? Do you want to go? Do you want to go lethal, non-lethal? Also, buddy system kind of things. Uh, what else is there? I guess there's a whole online aspect, like base invasions and stuff like that. Um,
yeah.
I think that was the hard thing at first. More was just like, well, open worlds already like take a bunch of my time, but now you're throwing in all this other stuff. It's like It's like, man, this is quite a bit, you know. Yeah, no, and then I want to finish the Doom campaign because I'm really enjoying it, but I only like to do like a level at a time because it's like I'm usually I need to sit down and relax after after a level because it's just so damn you know, it's just so
crazy,
intense. Yeah, it's intense, but it does intense well.
Yeah.
It's nonstop. It's the perfect game for people with ADHD, I think.
Does it seem repetitive to you at all?
I guess if shooting the shit out of things is repetitiveness. I mean, like, the structure of it, like each level is kind of a certain type of structure. Maybe because it's so fast and you're going through things so fast, like repetition, if there is any, which I'm sure there is, it just isn't as. It doesn't
it doesn't register as much.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like if you're eating really fast, you can't tell if it's a bad meal or something.
Yeah.
Your brain your brain took, was it 30 minutes to get the signals. So, yeah, I guess maybe I haven't played enough yet. I'm probably about halfway through.
To me, it was like when I got to the halfway mark, I don't know, like it was really fun, and like the effects of like blowing, like you said, blowing the demons apart and stuff was really cool, but I guess I just didn't have the itch of a first-person shooter, so it just seemed repetitive to me. Like after a long time, I was probably 75% way through the campaign, and just at some point it just dropped off for me, my interest level, just because it got so repetitive to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I remember reading and hearing some reviews that just, you know, because it's a fairly long campaign, I think. It kind of overstayed its welcome towards the latter half, I'd say. So, yeah, yeah. So that's something I've definitely heard, not just from yourself. Yeah, and then there's so many other games. If I start talking about them, I'm gonna feel really bad. Like Batman, I got Batman Arkham City. I got Soma. There's one, The Witcher 3, I feel like I want to dedicate a good amount of time. Yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg.
When you become a games journalist, you really start to get a crazy backlog.
Yeah.
You know, just because you got so many games that you want to play, but you've got other games that you have to play. So, but yeah, I know that feel.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so, well, I think we're coming down to the end, boys. It's been great. I'm glad we were able to record today. I'm glad we got through E3 and.
Yep, survived it.
Yeah, I'm glad it was good. I was able to see, look at even into some indie games that came out of it, and there's definitely some really nice stuff. That hopefully we'll be following up.
We happy few.
Yeah. There's one called Bound that it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Here We Lie. Oh yeah. But yeah, no. Well, we could talk about those in a further date. But
yeah. Well, let's do next episode. We'll talk about the games that we're most anticipating from E3.
Yeah, that would be a grand idea. But
sounds good.
As for today, guys, this is it. As Michael Jackson said, we're at the end. So again, I'm your host, Jordan Lopez. With me today was Jared Marrero and Trevor Anderson.
Yep.
And I guess it's time for us to say goodbye, guys. So goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.